Hey, what is going on guys, it's Tharshey and today we're back with another Game of Thrones Conquest video. And in today's video I'm going to be doing an in-depth troop and troop training as well as troop type guide. So if you guys want to, up your knowledge on anything to do with troops or what they're good for, which troop is best against which troop, then make sure you guys watch this entire video and don't forget to drop a like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Before we get into the video, I want to say if you guys are looking for alt farmers or pack loaders or anything like that, go and check out Oxygen's Bazaar because so far they're the best that I've come across. I use them and haven't had any problems or anything. I will leave a link to their Discord server down below on the pinned comment. Anyway, let's go right into it. Okay guys, so first things first, we're going to be talking about the 3 different types of troops you have. Well, technically 4, but siege doesn't really count for this. So siege is just good for knocking down walls, it doesn't really do anything else. So the 3 types of troops that you have for actual combat is ranged, infantry and cavalry. So each troop is better than another troop type. So it's kind of like a rock paper scissors thing. So cav beats ranged, ranged beats infantry, infantry beats cav. So just depending on which you're using, it's better than the other. So if you're fighting someone who's the infantry main, it's best to use ranged. If you use cavalry, they'll be at a distinct disadvantage. So a lot of people have also asked me, how do I know, or what makes infantry better than cavalry? What makes cavalry better than ranged? What makes ranged better than infantry? The real reason, and the reason that they are better like this is because ranged troops, for example, all the gear for them is geared towards infantry. So a ranged troop will have gear that says ranged attack first infantry, ranged attack first players infantry, ranged defense first players infantry, so on and so forth. So all their bonuses, all their gear stats, everything is mainly geared towards attacking and killing the enemy infantry, while cavalry, most of their stats are geared towards enemy ranged. As same goes to infantry, most of their stats are geared towards enemy cavalry. Obviously, like infantry will have some stats that say infantry defense against players cav, or infantry defense against players ranged, or health against players ranged, but it's very few and far between. Most of your stats is just focused on the troop type that it's better than. So cavalry has the highest attack, highest base attack stat of any troop. Ranged has the highest health, I believe, and infantry has the highest defense stats. So those are if you're looking for if you want to be a very defensive player, defending swaps, I would recommend using infantry. If you want to be a very attacking player, then you have cavalry. If you want something that will survive, then you have your ranged. So and now let's just go into and actually look at the different types. So obviously we start at tier 1. This is the first type of infantry you unlock, your militia. And then as you go up, as you can see, your stats improve, so on and so forth. Eventually you have your tier 8s, which are your unsullied, tier 9 is veteran, tier 10 is household guard, tier 11 is stormcrow footman. So let's say I use unsullied, right? So if you go and you click this, you can actually see their stats. So my tier 8 unsullied have 46 defense, 51 health and 40 attack. And now if I'm going to check my ranged and I check my tier 8 ranged, they have 40 attack, which is the same, 45 defense and 51 health. So as you can see, 51 health to my unsullieds, well, 51 health as well actually, 46 and 46 defense I think, now 45 defense, so slightly lower defense, yeah. And your siege is just basically all meant for just doing wall damage and doing damage to enemy walls and putting their keeps. But yeah, so that's basically the basic stuff about your troop types. Each one defeats a certain other troop type, or each one is slightly better than a certain other troop type. It's a very rock paper scissors thing. One of them has infantry has the best defense stat, base defense stat. Cav has the best base attack, and and ranged has the best base health. So yeah. But now a lot of people probably wondering, especially if you're new to this game or you haven't played a previous kingdom, you hear about, well, a lot of people hear about you must be an infantry main or a cav main, and you must make gear that supports one troop type. So a lot of people get very confused, so I'm going to explain that now. Basically what this means is, so obviously as you can see, I have all 3 troop types. I have cav, I have ranged, and I have infantry. But I'm a cavalry main and a ranged secondary. What that means is, so my first gear set is a cavalry set. So all my bonuses here go towards my cav. And what this means is, I have a much better, so my cav attack is 42%, cav defense is 62%, cav health is 40%, just from my gear. Now if I was using gear that gives troop health, so instead of like this gives cavalry health and cavalry defense, but there's gear that also gives troop health and troop defense. That would be much lower, because instead of getting like 15% or 15.8% for a level 25 purple piece, the same one but that gives troop bonuses would be something low, like 6% or 8%. So whatever your main troop type is, so I use Cav just because I like how fast they are, especially for farming and stuff. So if you're a Cav main, you'll make a set of gear that focuses just on cavalry bonuses and cavalry stats. So that'll be something like Baelish gear, Falcon Knight, or something like that. And that will really make sure to focus all your gear bonuses and your gear statistics towards your cavalry. Also, by being a Cav main, what you should also be doing is focusing on your enhancements and stuff. So when you do enhancements, you should focus on getting all your enhancements that help your Cav along. So anything that does Cav enhancements, you make sure you do those before you do your infantry and ranged enhancements, because your main troop focus and your main troop type is cavalry. Same goes for dragon talents. You will put them into stuff that gives bonuses to your cavalry, and your research will be focused around your cavalry as well. If you're a ranged main, then you'll focus everything on range. If you're an infantry main, you'll focus everything on infantry, just depending on what you are and what you want to focus on. I prefer Cav obviously because they're the fastest. Ranged are the slowest, but in my kingdom there's a ton of infantry players, so that is why I became a ranged secondary, to counter all those infantry guys that are gonna try kill me and my Cav. So yeah, so that's just basically how you focus on building up your one type of troop, and that's the reason why I recommend going and focusing on a troop type. In my previous kingdom, I didn't do this. Instead, I used to use all three troop types, and my gear wasn't focused on one troop type. Instead, I had gear that I had like one piece of Cav gear, one piece of infantry gear, one piece of siege gear, one piece of range gear, and 2 pieces of general troop bonus gear. And what that ended up doing for me is my stats were very, very low. Like I maybe got 10% cavalry attack and cavalry defense in total. I had maybe another 6% or something on my range, another 8% or whatever on my infantry, and then maybe 12% general troop bonuses. But what that means is, no matter what troop type I used, I had very few stats, very few buffs behind them. They were very paper. Paper troops is basically troops without any stats or bonuses to back them up. So that's why I stopped doing that. I stopped, just going and using going and using all 3 types of troop and making gear that helps all of it, because it just doesn't work. The best thing to do is just go and focus on one troop type. Then eventually you can focus on a second troop type, so you make a set of gear for that. For example, my secondary is range, so I have a range gear set. So yeah, everything here is focused on range. This entire thing will give me range bonuses only. As you can see, it gives me a nice 54% range attack, defense, and health. So that's why I have this as my secondary. So everything is focused on giving bonuses to ranged only. My first gear set, everything is focused on giving bonuses to Cav, and eventually when I have the materials and stuff for a new gear set, eventually I'll make infantry gear set. So at that point I'll basically have all 3 troop types, all 3 gear sets and stuff, though I'll still be focusing my enhancements mainly on my Cav first. Only if I finish all my Cav enhancements, then I'll move to ranged. If I finish all that, then eventually I'll move to infantry. Same goes for dragon talents and research. So I'm focusing mainly on my main troop type. Second, I'm focusing on my secondary troop type. But everything I put into first goes into my main troop type to get as much stats, as much bonuses as I can in it. So also, if you do want to build, like I have a bit of all troops, first thing to do is focus on getting as much of your main troop as you can, so you can fill up at least 4 marches. So if you're a Cav main, try get 4 full marches of Cav before you start putting speed ups or gold into training your range and your infantry. So once you have that, then you try to do the same thing for your secondary troop type. Try get 4 full marches of that, and then if you really want, you can go do your third. It really depends on your playstyle, how you want to play, but that's just my recommendations. So now let's talk about troop tiers and stuff. So if you look at level 7 and level 8, so as you can see, there's barely any increase in the actual attack. Like if you look there, the increase in attack is very minute. Let me actually look at that. So the attack here is 38 and there it is 40. So it's a difference of 2 attack from tier 7s and tier 8s for ranged. But if you look at the health, 39, and if you look at the defense, which is 29, and then you look at the ranged for tier 8, it's 51 and 45. So what this is basically your odd number troops are better for attacking, and your even number troops are better for defending. So even number troops have overall higher defense, have higher health, and slightly better attack. Obviously, if you are looking at here and are wondering tier 10s or tier 11s which are better, obviously your tier 11s are better, but it's just a little game quirk, I guess you could call it, where your even tier troops have much better health and defense, or there's a much bigger increase in attack and in a health and defense from a lower tier odd number troop to a higher tier even number troop. Anyway, if you guys have any questions at all regarding anything I've spoken about, or if something is not clear enough, because remember, this is a very, very, very broad topic. There's a ton of stuff you have to learn. There's a ton of stuff that could still be explained or that you could try to do differently. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave a comment down below and ask it, and I'll get back to you. I'll respond to you. If I'm not sure about it, I will do research and come back to you with as accurate a response as I can. Anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video, please drop a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to support me more, go ahead and head to my Patreon and support me there. Like, even if you guys just sub at the lowest tier, it doesn't matter. It all supports me, and it shows your appreciation for my work and my videos. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.